well, once again, thanks for being here, everyone. We will start out with some questions that got turned into us and some that we came up, and then after we're done going through these, we'll open the floor to any questions that you may have. So we'll get started here. Jeremy, Chan, how was this year's preparation for the PGA Championship different from last year's, being that you've already been there?
So, first of all, thank you to everyone for being here. Cypress Lake's home for me, and when I go up there and you can see all the video, I mean, it's a long week. Every day is extremely exhilarating and really difficult. I gotta go back to my caddy, Chris Black, at the bar, like a caddy. He was with me in Texas for like 7 nights, 7 days at the qualifier for this. 9 days later, I got to Valhalla. I was there for 7 or 8 days. I mean, it's not my day job. A lot of effort goes into it. It's great to have the club behind me and to feel the support from all of you while I was up there. So thanks for that, and thanks for being here. It really matters. As far as how last year was different from this year, I think I had a better understanding of how busy it is in those 9 days between the Club Pro and the PGA. I didn't do as many interviews before. I kind of said no or ignored a couple more things, which gave me a little more time to just get my energy up. And I didn't play quite as many practice rounds. And I think that really helped me to just conserve energy. Whether it's going good or it's going bad, like emotions are really high at an event like that, and it's very difficult. So I played a little less and took it a little easier. That was the main differences.
How would you say Oak Hill Golf Course was different from Valhalla?
Has anyone played Oak Hill here? Valhalla? Anyone played both? Oak Hill, for those of you who played there, I think a big group went up last year. By the way, if you need anything at Oak Hill, ask for, just say Tom Turner, and it'll be delivered right to you. The fairways are fast and they're sloping, and the rough's thick, so any shot that's not hit perfectly off the tee goes into the rough, and you can't really advance it to the green no matter what. So there's a lot of like auto bogeys or pitching it out to 80 yards trying to get it up and down. Valhalla, pretty much wherever you hit it, you had a chance to get the ball up on the green or near the green, so just played a little wider and longer. But the big difference is just more room, and par fives were a little easier.
What would you say your favorite moment of the week was?
There's a lot. I could probably give one each day. You saw it on the video. I chipped that ball in on Friday afternoon. It was my 8th hole. About 40 minutes before that, I was 4 under par for the tournament. I was probably like top 20. And when I chipped that ball in, I'd gone from 4 under to 1 over already, and I was kind of dropping back. And I didn't hit a very good shot to end up right there. And if I make bogey there and go to 2 over, I got 10 holes to play. The cut's going to be 1 or 2 under. It's going to be kind of tough sledding. And I worked really hard on my pitching. It's gotten so much better. And when I made that chip, I was back to even par and 1 shot out of the cut line. And when the ball went in, it was a hard shot. And when it went in, my wife, my kids, my parents were like directly behind the hole. And it was very memorable. I got a lot of good videos of that. But I just pointed right at my daughter, who was like jumping up and down. It was really cool. So that was when it kind of turned back to being good.
I guess your family was in the right place at the right time. That just kind of fueled you to put the pedal to the metal and get back on track and finish the next 9. What? 100, 200?
I think I was a couple under after that. I made the cut by 2 or by 1.
Actually,
so, yeah.
you only played 7 of the next 9 holes on that front side, right?
Yep.
We all know what happened after that. We'll get to more questions in regards to the weight and what you had to go through to make the cut. All right, next question.
We'll get to that. I'm sure it's coming.
What were you thinking on number 13 on the last day when your playing partner, Toasty, pulled out a driver and drove the green? First off, what were you thinking before he hit the shot?
I think I just bogeyed the last hole, so I wasn't thinking much good. The 13th hole of Valhalla is like a 250-yard layup off the tee and then a lob wedge to the green, and it's an island green, like 17 at Sawgrass. So if you miss the green, you're in the water. The carry is probably 320, 30 yards, something like that, to the front of the green, but it's downhill. And when I was walking up to the tee, I was thinking, like, I wonder if they'll move this tee up. You know, it's the last day. Would they ever make this like a 300-yard hole so people could go for it? And I walked up the hill, and the tee was where it normally was. And there's a great video of me and my caddy when Toasty pulled out driver. And I always wear sunglasses, so you never tell what I'm doing. But like, this will be interesting. And we kind of smirked, and he just launches this ball. There's 500 people around, nobody knows, like, I don't know what they're thinking, and he just hits it as hard as he can and never leaves the flag. Nobody claps, we don't know anything. And he takes out his rangefinder, he's Argentinian, and he just yells, it's 10 feet from the hole! And the whole crowd just cracks up. I mean, it was a cool moment. You watch it it was all over social media when I finished. It was really cool.
Pretty cool to be there firsthand to see that.
Yeah.
Once you got to play a practice round with Scotty Scheffler and Max Homa, tell everybody how that came about, or how you stumbled upon being able to play with a practice round with the #1 player in the world.
Yeah, so Wednesday at like 11 o'clock, I went up to the 10th hole. I wanted to play 9 holes. And pretty much Wednesday is the day before the tournament. Nobody's going to play 18 holes. There's too many people there. It's too slow. So I wanted to play the back, so I walked up the hill to number 10, and there were like, I didn't have anybody. There's like 10 golfers there waiting to tee off. So a foursome goes, and another group's on the tee, and I'm kind of like behind that. And I was talking to a golfer named Ben Griffin, and Ben said he was going to play with Max and Scotty. And obviously, I figure that's Scotty Scheffler and somebody else. And I figured I would just follow them. So like 10 minutes later, they're next on the tee, and Scotty Scheffler's caddy comes over and shakes my hand. Ted Scott introduces himself. Max Homa introduces himself. We put my bag on the tee, and because their fourth wasn't going to show up, and in the blink of an eye, there's 5,000 people around watching this practice round. And, par 5 driver. It was a good hole to start on, I guess. It helped. Max Homa hit this nasty slice into the trees. He hit first, so I actually hit the fairway, and we tee off, right? And Scotty Scheffler still hasn't gotten to the tee. So we're like 200 yards up the fairway, and Scheffler just hits over our head into the fairway, which the crowd loves. And introduced myself, and off we went. It works out. That happened really quickly, but that was one of the best things I did all week, to get to play with those guys, because on Wednesday, I mean, I don't know if any of you could imagine hitting a ball in front of this entire room right now with everybody watching you. But times 50 with the best golfer in the world and another great golfer, there's nothing to get me more nervous or pumped up than that, right? Well, that was just a practice round. So when I teed off Thursday morning, it was 30 people watching, and I knew 20 of them, so it felt it worked out really well for me.
Another time being in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
Did you speak to Scotty after the incident?
I did not catch him for a comment after the incident.
And being that his charges were dropped today, did you have anything to do with that?
That was very interesting to wake up to on Friday morning.
How was it playing with Martin Keimer and Tyrell Hatton on Saturday?
So Martin Keimer, very quiet, very hard worker, you could tell, great player. I think he won a couple majors, #1 golfer in the world. He and Hatton are both on Live now, so that was interesting to like play with them and sort of see what they were wearing. They have all Live gear. They don't wear Callaway. They don't wear brands. They play whatever clubs. But Keimer was kind, respectful, funny, world-class golfer. Hatton, to play with, he's a tough pairing because like the 30 seconds before he hits and the 30 seconds after, you basically just have to try not to listen to anything he says. For instance, par 4 was this drivable par 4. He hit it to like 20 feet. I hit it left in a hazard. It takes like 10 minutes to get a ruling. I drop, hit this pitch off dirt, past the pin, spins back to like 8 feet. I have 8 feet for par, hit a great shot. I can still make par. He hits it to 20 feet. He misses his putt by an inch, taps in for birdie, and it just goes on a tirade about how terrible Valhalla is and so forth. But then I gotta make this 8-foot, like I gotta make my 5th 6-footer in a row for par, just like treading water out here. And this guy's just crushing me, and he couldn't be any more miserable. But in between shots, fantastic, and he stood out to me. Like, obviously Scotty Scheffler's the best golfer in the world, but I thought Tyrrell Hatton's game, I'd never seen anything like it with how well he could control the golf ball. I mean, there's zero thoughts. This guy's like a savant in just what he's able to do. I'd never experienced it. I thought it was really, really cool.
On Friday night, what was it like going to sleep? With 2 holes still to play. You had to do +1 or better on those 2 holes to make the cut. What were you thinking about lying in bed?
A lot. That was a tough deal. I mean, it was a bit of a bad break. Not that it happens when you play. There's a wave, either tee off early, late, or late, early on Thursday, Friday, and there can be weather, there can be delays. And I left Valhalla, long story short, my 16th hole on Friday, I was within the cut line. I had 3 easy holes to play for that golf course, and it took me like an hour plus to play my 16th hole because there's a big ruling in front of us, and then the horn blew for darkness when I was on the green, so we had to come back the next morning. Had that delay not happened, or the ruling, I would have finished that round, I would have made the cut, I would have gotten a tee time at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I would have been able to sleep. But instead, I left Valhalla at 9:40 at night, and I was back at like 5:45 in the morning. And as far as what it was like, you can think some pretty poor thoughts when you have to make 2 pars to accomplish the biggest accomplishment of your entire career. I remember waking up at like 3. I didn't sleep very well. I woke up at like 3, and I was just like, you could birdie both holes. And that's all I thought about until I went back to sleep, and then I woke up again. And you know, it was pretty tough. Warmed up in the dark, went to the tee, supposed to tee off at 7:15, fog rolled in, and went back to the clubhouse. I don't think I played those 2 holes until like 10 o'clock that morning, or 9:45. And that took a lot of energy out of me, for sure.
So going, after you make the cut,
Yep.
you got a little bit of time in between the 2nd and 3rd rounds. What'd you do to pass that time, and how'd you deal with it?
So, and I never relaxed until I made this like 15-inch putt to make the cut. I mean, even that feels hard at the time. And I walked the hill, hugged my wife, kids. We have a great video of it when I made the cut. I mean, that's the biggest accomplishment imaginable for a club pro. So cool. Signed my scorecard. That was at 10:50, and there was a little note right there next to the scorecard that said the first tee time for the third round is going to be at 11:20. So it's 10:50 something, and the first tee time's at 11:20, but nobody knows their tee time yet because there's still golfers on the golf course. So, again, would have been nice to like catch my breath, but we just went down to the range and hit a couple balls. There were like 100, well not 100, but there's probably 50 golfers on the range just waiting to see when their tee time is, because if they call you at the first tee, you gotta go. I ended up getting like 2 hours. And in that time, you know, got some food, tried to rest. Got some food, tried to rest, and
Sound
We can't hear you, Jared.
Can't hear him. Sound off.
That's working.
got some food, tried to rest, and teed off for my third round. Probably at 1, and I was exhausted. It was great, time of my life. Birdied the first 2 holes or something. I'm like the guy now, and it was like my kid being in an arcade for like 8 hours. I mean, I think it just finally crashed. So it was a lot of, it was tough.
Also, you had a lot of delays throughout the entire week. What did you do to pass the time in those delays, even during the practice round?
Just do your best, try to plan it out, try to keep eating, keep drinking food, try to not think about it, stay positive. Chris and I in Texas, it was really good prep in Texas. We, I don't know, ate a lot of food.
Dehydrated.
It's just it's incredibly taxing on me with these delays, with the amount of time that goes into this, because it's not what I'm used to, right? I think these guys, you know, you have good weeks, you have bad weeks, you have weeks that take longer, weeks that go to plan, and they're kind of used to it. But in this case, yeah, those delays they're very, very difficult to feel any sort of routine or schedule. You're just at the mercy of whatever. Scotty Scheffler getting arrested, I don't know. Weather.
Favorite hole?
At Valhalla.
I like the golf course overall. I can't say I had a favorite hole. I like that little island hole. It's memorable. 13. It's not too gimmicky. It's really pretty. There's a lot of great holes at that place. I really enjoyed the course.
You show me your share.
All right, you showed you can play with the guys on tour at the championship. Nothing to take away from you, but what would you say is different between your game and the guys on tour?
So the biggest thing, I'd say 3 things. One is like, to use a fancy word, dispersion or variance. Like their bad shots are better than my bad shots. Not all of them, not every time, but playing with Scotty Scheffler, he's like leaning over here and for 220 yards and his ball goes to like 25 feet and he makes it, right? I'm leaning like this and my ball's like on the edge of the property line over here. It is what it feels like sometimes. So I think just tighter misses. These golfers, I hope I explained a little bit about somebody like Hatton who was a little better than I realized. He's not sweating it. He's not, if he doesn't play well, he doesn't play well. He's going to be an elite world-class golfer next year, in a few years. He's still going to be better than everybody except the top, 20 players in the world. And he knows that. I've had to like build this thing up. You get better and better while I'm working a day job. So I think someone like him probably has a touch more confidence coming into a major championship test than I do. So, which is natural. I mean, it's getting better. This was huge for me. But I would say their misses are better, probably a little more confident, which is obvious. And I think because of that, they don't waste as much energy. sweating the cut line or playing practice rounds or having range sessions after their rounds. Like, I got to do really good to play there all 4 days, and those guys, I think they're looking at more as season-long, race to continue to improve and have a great year, and they can kind of take it a little easier. And I think that helps on Saturday or Sunday. I'm kind of the happy to be here guy on Saturday and Sunday for this year.
Absolutely. I think it's working out. If everyone probably followed Jeremy along on the shot tracker for the championship, and you might have known the last round on number 18, it went way left. You want to explain that to them, to everybody here, that it wasn't really that bad of a shot?
So, if you guys remember, Tiger Woods had a really good battle with Bob May at the PGA Championship at Valhalla. Tiger won, then Rory won, and then this year Xander won. So this was 2 times ago. Tiger was playing against Bob May, who was kind of a normal PGA Tour player. And on the 18th hole, Tiger hit driver left. And if you haven't seen this, go watch the replay. It's unreal. His ball hit this cart path, went forwards into this really bad area, and 3 seconds later, the ball just shot straight out, and it was fine. And it's always been speculated that someone threw the ball out, or it's very mysterious. There's no good camera angle, but he got the best break in the world. So, I birdied 17, which was great. I played my last hole of Valhalla. The place is packed. We're the first group out, and I hit the same sort of drive, kind of just a little pull to the left. And I just walk off the tee box and start walking down the fairway. I know I'm in the left rough, it's fine. And the ball either hit a shot length tower, which is what tracks all the golf shots, or the corner of the cart path, and it ricocheted Tiger's went kind of this way. Mine went 70 yards straight left into the worst place you could put a golf ball.
I believe it said into
in
the
Kentucky.
unknown.
It's very unknown, and I don't know how they found the ball. I don't know how I got to the ball physically, but I got over there, and it's going to be an unplayable. No way I could hardly pick the ball up, much less hit it. And when you take an unplayable, you can take 2 club lengths and a penalty and hit from there, and that was not going to be helpful. Or you can take the flag and where you are, and you can go straight back on that line. So I'm looking around, and I see the entrance road, ironically right up from where Scotty Scheffler got arrested the day before. And it's kind of like Valhalla, me, entrance road, back by the red tees on number 1 pretty much, at our golf course. But I know I can go there, and then I can hit it over all these people and trees and get back onto the golf course. And it would be better than going to the tee. I can get the ball further. So we have 2 officials, 1,000 people, and they're helping us, yelling, laughing, I don't know. It's a low moment, but I end up over here on the road. And the grass is this thick, and then it's the road. So obviously I have to drop the ball on the road, which you can hit a ball off the road fine, but I have to we're moving these metal barriers. I just want this round to be over with. I want to go home, I want to do this, right? And I have a rangefinder. I know that this tree up here, if I hit it 120 yards past this one tree, it's going to get me to the fairway. So long story short, I'm hitting 5-iron off the entrance road for my 3rd shot, dead sideways just to get back to the fairway. Traffic's been stopped for 5 minutes. I hit, yell at my caddy, and start walking back through the bushes, back up the hill. Everybody's cheering, yelling. It's ridiculous. Well, Jim Nance apparently was sitting in a golf cart from me to that wall, just watching this whole thing, because he's trying to get up the hill. It's 12 in the morning, it's 12 noon, he's trying to get up the hill to do coverage of the afternoon, and he's just watching this whole spectacle in his cart. And I really wish I'd have seen him because I think it would have broke character and asked him to call my shot, and just give me a little. But yeah, that was 18, and then I chopped it around in the rough, and it felt like an 8. It looked like an 8. It was an 8. It was fun.
That concludes my questions. Any questions from the floor?
I've got one.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah. When you were playing with Scotty, being the instructor you are, did you have anything to say about his footwork?
The question was, when you played with Scotty, and being the instructor you are, do you have anything to say about his footwork?
I did not have anything to say about his footwork.
Other than it's perfect.
Did Toasty sit down?
Did Toasty sit down?
He was great. I didn't see anything, We were like bottom of the field, dew sweeping on the last day. I don't think he was as intense as normal. He was fine. Fun to play with. Super talented. He hits it like 30 past me, which nobody does. I would say distance-wise, my ball speed's like 178, 180. Distance-wise, top 30% out there when I hit it. Definitely top 40%. And that guy, he smoked me. He's like close to Bryson's level distance-wise. And he's 5'5". But no, nothing crazy.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Can I say a few things?
Back over here. Mr. Towns?
Jeremy. So if you put the time in that they put in, where would you put yourself in that category? Like top 50, top 100? If you had the coaches, if you had the team, if you had the time that they put in, where would that put you?
All right, so the question was, if you had the time, the coaches, where would that put you amongst all of them?
It's a really good hypothetical. But I'll deflect a little bit. I love my family. I love our lifestyle. I love my career here at Cypress Lake. But I really love competing and improving. So at the club pro level of golf, I also just made the PGA Cup, which is the top 10 club pros in the country. We play a Ryder Cup against Europe. It's on TV. It's in Oregon. It's every 2 years. My wife, she has to buy a gala dress for the evening with the Europeans. It's the same format and the same event as the actual Ryder Cup. So there's things that I'm still unlocking while doing this kind of my way that are plenty for me to pursue. As far as playing full, I can get a coach. I can do more within my sort of life, and that's kind of more how I would look at it. As far as just hanging it up and trying to play full time, I've done it before, and I wasn't nearly as good as I am now. But at this point in my life, it's not really a active thought.
Next. Mr. Stevens, do you have a comment?
I just want to say a few things. You and I were there, and hi. So Steve and I were there, and it's really a pretty neat experience. So if you ever get a chance, hopefully he'll be back next year. He gets to play past everybody and go to the championship again. So if you ever get a chance to do it, it's really a cool experience. Valhalla was a very long walk. It was like we walked probably 10 miles, 15 miles a day because it's very hilly. So it is a very, very long walk. To be actually there and watch him is pretty neat because he keeps up with everybody. The drives are out there the same distance, the chipping, the putting. He does this weird thing that he walks with the putter like this. I don't know what he's doing. But and
Steve
also,
taught me that.
and then also he does this weird thing. So like when you're watching somebody's putt from behind and you're in a tournament, you know, you kind of stand there and you look like this. Well, he does this thing where he's over and he goes, and he runs over and tries to look at the putt. So, but anyway, it was really a neat experience, and watching Jeremy was great. We came up for his practice round, and we saw that, and we were standing there talking because he came over to the thing, and there's a great picture. Jeremy and I that made the PGA Instagram account, which came out really nice. But and I'm not, you know. The other thing is I did not go to bail Scotty Scheffler out, even though they asked me to, but I didn't go. But one of the other things is that he needed my help every morning. His wife would call and say, he's not coming out of bed, you gotta call him. He's not gonna be able to make it. So, in any event, he really played well. It is very draining just watching it. But the last thing I'll say is, we were standing there on the 10th hole waiting for him to tee off, and he was talking to us, and then Steve and I looked over and we're like, that looks like Scotty Scheffler or Max Homa. Are you playing with them? And he's like, I don't know. And then it turned out that he went over there, and they were standing there, and all of a sudden he's taking off, and we're thinking, God, what a great deal. We get to watch Jeremy and we get to watch Scotty Scheffler. What he didn't tell you is he goes all the way down to the second shot. They hit their second shots and they take off. And Steve and I are standing there going, God, they left him. They left him in the fairway. They're already way down there, and we're like, oh, they really got mad. They don't want Jeremy to play with them. And so then, like, I don't know, a few minutes go by, and Scotty Scheffler turns around and he waves Jeremy over to go hit his ball, because apparently Jeremy was trying to reach the green in 2, and those guys were trying to do a 3 shot. So, but it was kind of funny because we're all standing there, and there was about 10 or 15 of us from the club. So, and then we got to watch the first round and do that too, which was really fun because you got to get up close, and his kids were there, his wife was there, his family, his brother. So it was fun. But anyway, from Steve and I, thank you very much. Also, we made about $5,000 on the tickets that you had for Saturday and Sunday. That you gave us.
Haven't seen any of that.
Anyway, congratulations.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Quick question, I was just curious, your experience with the course at Valhalla, have you played over the years, or new to you this year?
Have you played Valhalla before the championship, or is it new to you?
No, I hadn't played it. Paz played it. Anybody I've talked to has played there. Craig played it. They liked it. They said I was going to like it. And it's a very comfortable feeling golf course. There is some space out there. It's not as claustrophobic as some of these setups, which I enjoyed. But no experience there. I'm from Virginia, so it feels kind of close to where I grew up. And I'm used to that kind of golf course. For those of you who go up north at all, bent grass greens, like significantly easier to putt on than down here. So I've played similar courses, but I've never been on property until this week.
Back there?
Buddy?
Yeah. If you haven't had the pleasure of watching Jeremy hit a golf ball, you think his ball striking is like just shockingly good. We've talked about that a little bit. Is it the game, or is it the mental aspect of his preparation as you think about next year? Like, how do you take that incremental next step? Is it one part of the game, or is it the mental piece here? How would you compare it?
So the question was, for preparing for next year at Paul Hollow, so we all know he's going to make it. How do you prepare more mentally, physically? What's that next step?
So I think this year that's somewhere I got a lot better from last year with the preparation. Buddy came out, John came out, we went to Texas 2 weeks before the National Club Pro. We played the golf courses. One, it's good to see the courses, but two, it's good for me to get away from work and be able to actually work on my golf game. Yeah, I stand outside on the lesson tee all day, but I hit like 5 golf balls most days. So to make time in my schedule during the latter part of the season, I did more of that this year. Like I forced myself to actually prepare. That's difficult being someone who you all pay me. I teach golf lessons for a living. So if I'm not giving a lesson, then is it worthwhile for me to practice? But in this case, as season pushes on and this opportunity comes up with the National Club Pro and then inevitably the PGA Championship, just taking more time, being better usage of my time when I have it for practice. And then I might get some help. I might get an opinion about my golf swing, just a couple things to kind of continue to push forward and improve. I mean, I do everything pretty much entirely on my own. I'll film my swing, I'll look at it, and I'll work on it. I've done that for years. But even the best golfers in the world, like me, they're always working on something, but they have somebody who's like pretty elite helping them. So probably gonna go that route at some point over the summer and just get a couple questions answered. And then physically, it's really tiring. As Craig alluded to, just walking around. Just got to keep, my fitness up and be ready for the opportunity. I made a big push in that in the last year or two, and that's really helped. So more of the same, I would say, to answer your question.
Question back there?
How are you doing? How are you doing?
How are you doing?
Good, tired. It's been a blur. My whole life's been a contingency for about a month since I went to Texas. Season's really busy. This is really fun, but it's really difficult. I am thankful for a break when the club closes. Kids in school, I'm gonna hang with them next week, and then we're going to Maine for a week where we go for vacation every year. And I think in that period of time, there'll be some good reflection and kind of be able to relax. But it's been busy. Thanks for asking.
Ms. Deegan?
So, what is your fitness workout routine consist of?
What's your fitness? How do you keep your body in shape and ready?
Beachbody 2.0. I don't do like golf specific necessarily stuff. I work out in the morning, so I go to we have a neighborhood gym and I get in like before 5:30 and then I'm home at like 6:20 to wake my kids up and we leave by 7. So pretty much the only time I can go with 3 kids and my wife's job is early. I'll either lift for 45 minutes or do cardio, and I try to go 4 or 5 days. I'll try to go 4 days in the week, and then I'll go a day or 2 on the weekend. So like probably 5 days on average when it's all said and done. So trying to be consistent, and my wife's got us on these meals or something, this like meal plan thing. It's good. Nutrition's important too, so always learning.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes, the ages of your children?
Ages of your children?
My oldest Mason's 7. He'll be 8 in July. My second Chloe is 6, and our youngest Kendall will be 3 in August. So Mason just finished 2nd grade, Chloe just finished kindergarten, and Kendall's chugging along, playing catch up.
Did you have any conversations with Scotty or Max during your practice rounds?
Any conversations with Scotty or Max during the practice round?
They were great, and there was a 3rd player named Ben Griffin who kind of gets left out, but Ben's in his 20s, he's on tour, he's a great golfer, they're friends. It felt like playing with 3 of my friends. I mean, very normal conversation. You get this idea in your head that these people are world class and they're going to kind of talk down to you or whatever, but the conversation was very simple, normal, enjoyable. Sports, kids, family, they all like just had their first kid, so I'm kind of like the older guy in that sense, so that's fun. At least I have some sort of experience on them. And I would ask a couple questions. So like I remember people, Craig remembers this, people just like to yell at you for some reason. Like, I'm from meeting you, and a person just screams, well, it's as loud as they can. And I'm just walking down the fairway, and they're just walking that way. Like, it happens all the time. It's kind of bizarre. So I add it to, like, Scotty Scheffler and Max Homa especially. Like, it's just ridiculous. So we're in conversation, and people are just screaming the most bizarre things you've ever heard. And I'm like, hey, man, do you like get used to this, or? And I asked that to Scotty, and he said it took him a while, but in the last year, like he's been at the top for probably 2.5, 3 years now, but he said in the last year he's been able to phase it out a lot better. Similar to some of the stuff I've said tonight, like he limits his amount of time, so if he's signing autographs, he sets a timer for 10 minutes, and when it hits 10 minutes, he goes. Because like people will keep coming at you as long as you're standing there. So that was one thing I learned from him. Max Homa is really funny, enjoyable, interview guy, social media guy, stuff I follow. In person, extremely quiet. Like he might be paying somebody to do all his social media for him, as far as I know. Nice guy, but like what you see on TV is not necessarily what you get. I would say overall, way more cordial, normal, calm demeanors out there than I would expect from the outside looking in.
How about Scott Van Pelt?
So the question was about Scott Van Pelt. SVP, he was out there for our practice round, my quick impromptu Scotty Scheffler Max Homa practice round. So Van Pelt is on the commentary for ESPN Thursday through Sunday. So that was Wednesday. So he's out doing his job, watching them golf. He's like 6'6", and he just walks around and people yell at him, but instead of ignoring them, he just engages with everybody. But I did spend a good bit of time talking to him. He's from Maryland, right up the road from where I grew up in Virginia, so we talked about some golf courses and his schedule and this and that. And again, like, he's humorous, he's funny, he's relaxed, he's not there to play golf, but pretty cool. I probably spent 20 minutes of that practice round talking to him between shots, and felt pretty, that was a cool moment, for sure.
Jeremy, did anybody ask for your phone number?
Question was, did anyone ask for my phone number? Not me, but there was a certain golfer who announced a divorce early that week, and there was a lot of noise directed his way.
Any other questions? I got one thing to share. So I met Jeremy when he got back from the airport, and he's there with his family, and this goes back to last year, and they're at Valhalla, and his little son Mason, they're in the players only area in the clubhouse, and John Rahm walks by, and he idolizes John, and he says, "Dad, is that John Rahm?" He says, "Yeah, it is, buddy." So I said, "Remember that last year?" I said, "Well, your dad beat John Rahm this year." John Rahm didn't make the cut. So that was a cool story that I have. But anybody else have any other questions?
I got one more serious question.
Everything. Yeah, everything. My kids will be out here in the summer a little bit doing golf when it's not as busy. But baseball, soccer, dance, swimming. Yeah, we're going at it.
One more serious
On the
question.
weekends.
Did you get a check or cash?
Check or cash?
Direct deposit.
Good for you.
All right. Any other questions?
Biden's not gonna let them have cash.
All right. Well, once again, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Let's give Jeremy one more round of applause. With his fine play, he's exempted to next year's National Club Pro again, which is in Florida, over on the East Coast. And hopefully we'll see him back at Quail Hollow. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming.